Oh, and I'm really bad at the chat thing, so.
Okay. I will look at the chat for you. So welcome to this month's All-In Facilitator call with Simone Milasas. She is joining us in the middle of the Australian tour. The Newton class, Choose It or Lose It, starts in 2 days, which will be live streamed around the world, which is facilitated by Simone and Brendan and Gary and Dane. So we're happy you could be on with us to talk about creation and starting and creating classes and money and all that.
Thank you. And I was just getting some more coffee and listening to you talk as well. And so you pinged me about a couple of things, because there's some things that I just, you just do it and you just be it. Like, so quickly while it's in my head, and I would really love your questions, and I've got some stuff I want to talk about, because I always find that not what's up for me, but it's like what's going on or what I'm looking at or working on, etc. You know, we're also connected. It seems to bleed out to everybody else as well. So you've got to acknowledge that. And I also, God, I'm serious amounts of OCD right now and everything I want to talk about. But one of the things I just heard Em say too is about revenue streams. And, you know, we talk about revenue streams and creating revenue streams. And one of the key questions that a lot of people that work with Access, we're, you know, constantly reminding them is like, okay, so what revenue stream can support that? It's a really simple question. And, you know, I was having a conversation with Brendan a couple of days ago, and we're starting to work on our next book. And we were looking at it, and we had an idea of what it should be on. And then we went, oh, what if we actually opened this up and it was on more things? And what if we created an ebook, sell it at $9.99 based on this topic, and that's a revenue stream that supports this revenue stream. So it's really simple. Like, even if you just making a coffee in the morning, when you're jumping in the shower, it's something you want to create. And how many times do you go to, oh, but that's going to cost me money, or it's going to cost me more money than what I have decided I have. What revenue stream can support this? I mean, there's a few extra things that I'm doing in my life at the moment. It was funny. I went, oh, what if I got some more regular, because I actually like doing regular sessions with people, because you just sort of get down and dirty, and each month it's like more. And I've just picked up a whole bunch of people who are booking regular sessions with me. It's like, it wasn't hard. So everywhere that you've decided creating revenue streams is hard and difficult, and we all know there's only one thing you want hard in life. Still cracks me up when I say that. Will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so everything you've decided your business is today, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Everything that you've decided you were in business, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And all the judgments you have of your business currently and of you being in business, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So each and every single one of you creates your own reality. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the movie. It's an old movie, so some of you youngins might have seen it, but it's a Monty Python movie, and it's called Life of Brian. And there's this scene in it, and there's masses of people, and they all go at the same time, we are all individuals. And this one guy goes, I'm not. And it's like, that's what we always try and create. We are all individuals saying it at the same time, doing the same thing, and expecting ourselves to create the same as the person next to us. You don't create like anyone else, ever. So how many of you are creating your reality and then you disavow your reality because someone or something doesn't match it? Holy cow, people. Everything that is where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And you do this with everything, not just with business. Like, how many of you, say if you make more money than your family or more money than the people around you, if nobody's matching the reality you have just created with making money with ease, how many of you start to stop making money? Everything that is, will you please destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Is that a question or someone just wanting to make some noise off camera. And people muted you. Okay, so, and what if, how many times, because, okay, if you look at this too, with the realities, it's like, so you as an access consciousness facilitator, whether you're a facelift, bars, certified, whatever that is, and it's like, how many of you look at the other facilitators to see what they are doing and see if that matches the reality you are choosing. And if it doesn't match the reality you are choosing, you start to go to the wrongness of you and the judgment of you rather than the capacities and the greatness of you. And everything that is times a Godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Now, there's also, I mean, one of the things that we talk about a lot with, say, the specialty facilitators we have, like, you know, we've got Joy of Business, and Joy of Business and Being You actually do it all the time. And Right Voice started coming and doing it as well. And like making the joke of copying and stealing off each other. So, because we're like, Being You just did this, and it's like, all right, how can we create something similar and make it even better? And we make it a joke, and we egg each other on to out-create each other. What if that is more our reality? What if we could out-create each other, and it wasn't done from competition? It was done from, what do we want to create in the world, guys? We want to create more consciousness? So I think that is times a Godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Christopher Hughes told me that he had a meeting with all the Right Voice gaggle, and they were like, all right, what can we do to out-create those bitches and Joy of Business? It's like, go for it. Oh, by the way, I'm just going to do a little sitting here. Here's the 2020 Joy Business Planner. It's friggin' awesome. This is the second time around, and the Joy Business Gaggle have nailed this. Like the questions in here and the way it's set out is amazing. It is in, what English is called. It's in Spanish, it's in Portuguese, it's in French, and it's in German, okay? And you can get it at accessjoybusiness.com/2020 planner, I think. Hopefully someone's on there, then correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, it's really cool. It's awesome.
Simone, you're muted.
Hold on, you muted
Can't
Simone.
hear you, Simone.
Yeah, but someone
Simone,
else
we
muted
can
me.
hear you.
Someone muted you. Sorry.
We did. Was one of the gaggles. Sorry. Can everyone that comes up make sure they turn themselves off? Wasn't me, Simone.
They're fired. And it was so profound what I was saying. No, I don't know what you heard. What did you hear up to? Did you hear my sales pitch for the 2020 this?
We heard the
Yes.
languages and the URL. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So everywhere that you have decided that out-creating another facilitator and all facilitators is bad, terrible, awful, mean, the worst thing in the world that you could possibly do, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
I'm good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah. What would it take for us to all out-create each other? And here's the thing. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were talking about someone that we work with, and there's a lot of proving energy that goes on. And I said, yeah, but it actually may change. You've got to be willing to be in allowance of when people function from that proving energy. I mean, I remember years ago, it's like how much I functioned from proving. Every single person who came along to Access, it's like most staff never thought that they actually had the capacities to contribute and be a part of Access. So what would they do? They would prove that they could be, you know, part of Access and part of working with Access. It's not a really nice energy to be around, the proving energy, because you are not in the computation. So everywhere that you're trying to prove that you are a great Access consciousness facilitator, rather than just being you, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so right now it's like, can we destroy and uncreate all the barriers, all the limitations, all the judgments, all the points of view that you have of you? And what if today you did nothing? Give you nothing. This week, nothing. Didn't do anything with your Access business. Yeah. Sat in front of the TV and watched Netflix. That's it. And everything that brought up, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Because where are you not allowing yourself to be okay with whatever it is you choose? So many of you go to the place of judgment of what you're not doing rather than actually acknowledging what you are being. I mean, have you noticed how much you change people's lives when you, I don't know, you go to a family gathering or you walk into your local shop and get a coffee and it's like, are you different? What if that difference is the greatest invitation? Being an access consciousness facilitator is not about force. It's not about sales. It's about being an invitation. Everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So how many of you don't actually know what you desire to create or what you want to create? What if you took a moment over the next week, took a moment and do something for you? Like, you know, we always talk about that 1 hour a day and 1 day a week. Do something that nurtures you. What if you did that and be on your own, not with somebody else, be on your own and start to have a look at the energy of what is it that you desire to create? And it's going to be different for all of you. And have a look at that and ask, okay, so am I making choices that are in the direction of this? And what choice could you make that would allow all of this to show up and more? And everything that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Because all of the judgments that you have, all of the expectations and the projections and all that place of making, you know, your classes about the amount of people that come, or, you know, the amount of money that you're making, or the judgment that you have of, you know, that you can't do this as well as somebody else, all of that. I mean, my first class that I did ever was a money class, and it was at my house. Some of you may have heard this story. And there was about 10 people who came to my house, and I just said it was a money class. You know, I think I charged $45 or something. And I had one friend of mine there, and her wife showed up, and her wife was so angry that this person was hanging out with me. And so her wife showed up. So her wife's one of the 10 people sitting there with her arms crossed, glaring at me. And I was like, oh my God, this person hates me, you know. And I had these 10 people there talking, you know, to talk about money. And I went upstairs to my bedroom and I went, I can't do this. I'm going to have to go downstairs and tell them all that I'll give them their money back and they have to go away. And I sat on my bed and went, okay, so if you do that, you could do that. You could give them their money back. They could go away. And then what? And I was like, well, everything I had been doing with my life previously wasn't matching the energy of what I wanted to create. This is, oh yeah, but I haven't been there and done that before. What if I just explored what this was like? So for me, I went, all right, the worst thing that can happen is I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say, which if any of you know me, I think is quite funny because I never usually have nothing to say. And my plan B was always to talk about the tool of I don't know, because that's one of the things that we talk about in Access is, you know, you can't say I don't know because you do know. So I thought that can be my plan B. So I went downstairs and I opened my mouth and I started asking questions and what does money mean to you? And then of course the money went on, the class went on and the money went on. So it's like, how many of you are in judgment of what you have not yet created? So you refuse to make the choice to allow your Access consciousness business to exponentialize beyond your wildest imagination. And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And you know what's funny? It's like, so what I do a lot, like, and I don't know if this helps, but before I do a class, I used to go, who's registered, look at the names, I wonder what they want from class. And I would torment myself. I would spend nights not sleeping, like, you know, trying to figure out how much I could give them and then I could change their entire life in one class. And I'd show up to class and I'd be exhausted. And the other thing that occurred is half the people didn't show up. I'd already been working on them for the past week and they're like, I don't need this anymore. So I learned that the hard way, or maybe the easy way, I'm not sure. And then now what I would do is when I've got a class coming up, like even like this one coming on here, and before I went to bed last night, I knew Emily wanted me to talk about something, and I went, hey Em, I was like, what do I need to talk about on this? What did you want me to talk about? And then she was like, no, it's like, you can do whatever, and I'm going to mention this. And I was like, okay, great. But it just gave me the information. So quite often I'll just ask a question. Like I did a call recently called I Need a Man, which was hilarious and very vulnerable. And I went for a run before I did the call. And so I was tapping into the call going, okay, so what does this call require? And I kept getting nothing. And I was like, okay. And I didn't go to the wrongness of it. I didn't go to the judgment. I just went, all right, so I'll just show up. And what I realized with 2 minutes of starting this call, it was the people that were choosing the call that were directing how this goes. Because I Need a Man, that topic, I mean, I did it because I thought it was funny. It could go in so many different directions. It had so many tentacles to it. So it really depended on who showed up and what questions they had and where they were at in their life. So quite often what I will do is go, oh, what does this require? Like even in a city or a country, because cities and countries, all like the culture or something like that requires something different. And you may just get this hit and you go, oh, problems. And it's like, okay, so, I mean, in Australia, problems is not really a thing. People in Australia don't think they've got problems. They think they're born in the lucky country and everything's no worries, mate. Everything's going to be fine. But if you go to somewhere like China, it's like problems might come up, you know, or Poland or something like that. So then you could start with that energy. Like you will recognize an energy, but what I really want to reiterate here, this is not about making the awareness you have significant or making it solid and real. Like even today, it's like there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about and I haven't even gone there yet because you end up opening your mouth up and following the energy. So everywhere that you've decided you have to work out what your classes look like before you actually walk in the room where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. The energy of you being you is the greatest invitation in the world. The energy of you functioning with no judgment of you or others is the greatest invitation in the world. So everywhere that you've been trying to judge your business into existence rather than allow it to show up, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And if there's a topic or something that you refuse and resist, do something on it. Do like a clearing night or something, because I can guarantee you it's going to create more freedom for you. And the place where you are, I mean, for a long time when I did foundation classes, the one thing I didn't want to talk about was entities. And because I knew that I had a capacity with entities, I had a ridiculous amount of people die on me in a few short years. And I had, this is before Access, and like including an ex-boyfriend and everything. And they all used to appear to me. And I never told anyone because I was like, my God, people are going to think I'm crazy. So when I came along to Access and with Foundation and the entities, I was like, oh, this is actually not crazy. This is actually can be something that can show up. So it took me a while and I eventually started talking about it and spoke to Gary about it. And then whenever I did the foundation classes, I never wanted to talk about entities because I didn't want to go down that road. You know what everyone wanted to talk about in my foundation classes? Entities. So I quickly learned that if I get over my point of view and if I'm resisting anything, that is the one thing that everyone will want to go there. So anywhere that you are in resistance to any part of Access consciousness where you now destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Because if you are in resistance to anything, you will guarantee that you do not exponentialize your business beyond that. And everything at that is times a Godzilla and we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. Because if you're in resistance and reaction to something, or even alignment and agreement, when you think something is really cool and it's awesome, that's going to trap you just as much as where you resist and react to something. So everywhere that you've been aligning and agreeing or resisting and reacting to anything and everything with access consciousness and you as a facilitator in your business where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Because you will set yourself up to fail. Any conclusion, any limitation you have, you set yourself up to fail. The joy, the ease, joy, and glory of being an access consciousness facilitator, whew, that's when you start to exponentialize beyond what you've decided you can do, so you start being. Everything is ready. Time to go in, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yes.
Can I ask you to talk about something? So it was really cool at the COP in Noosa. A woman got up and talked about how she ran bars during Suicide Awareness Day, that she ran in a group of people in Australia, ran like 50, 60 people's bars. And then we were having a conversation about contribution, and she said, wow, I just realized now that the next 2 and 3 months in my business like tripled. And it wasn't that the people that came to that event then came to a bar slash. She was just like, I now realize it tripled because they were coming from everywhere. So can you talk about that nonlinear, because people ask, how do I get people to my bar slash? Thinking they have to do X, Y, and Z. And I thought that was such a cool example of it doesn't look like.
Oh, okay. So let me talk about that being as well, because she, Ashley is her name. And spotlighted my video. Sorry. Okay. So here's some stuff about how Ashley would function. She's a young girl. And when she first discovered access, nearly all of her friends, as most of you would have occurred as well, it seems to be something, was sort of didn't applaud her or, thumbs up for what she was choosing, but she knew it matched the energy of what she wanted to create in her life. So she kept moving forward, even as everything was disappearing around her. And the one thing about Ashley too, is she's not doing it as a necessity for money. She's doing it as a joy of choosing. And she, through that gratitude that she has for access consciousness and for the tools and what she, and herself and what she chooses, she has this capacity. Every time she creates something, she'll acknowledge it, but it's not like I am doing this and I will now acknowledge it and spend this. She just goes ping, 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 and acknowledges it. And through that acknowledgement of yourself, everything starts to expand. She's not vested in the outcome, yet she's willing to receive the acknowledgement, and she's also willing to receive more people showing up. So far, talking to Ashley, I don't see that she has somewhere in her world that she cannot handle the more people that shows up. She's even created her house, like she's got a small, piece of land. She's even created that to extend it so that she can have classes there. She doesn't have a doubt that her future is not going to be created by being an access consciousness facilitator. So everything that brought up, and everywhere that you've just gone to the wrongness of you because you are not functioning like that, whereas knowing that you could function like that as you, not the matching that reality where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So let's do this. What have you made so vital, valuable, and real about judgment, limitations, and conclusions of you and your access consciousness business that keeps you from the ease, joy, and glory of exponentializing everything and creating what you deserve? And everything that is times the godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Is anyone doing Oracling?
I did grab that one.
Where did it go? Where did you put it?
I just was sending it to you in the
How?
chat.
What platform? Oh, on the chat?
Yeah. Would you like it
Okay.
somewhere else?
No, that's good. I can go
Okay.
there. But you can send it to everyone.
Okay.
So what have you made so vital, valuable, and real about judgment, limitations, and conclusions of you and your access consciousness business that keeps you from the exponentialization of everything and creating, keeps you from, no, the exponentialization of ease, joy, and glory and creating what you deserve. And everything that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So what have you made so vital, valuable, and real about judgment, limitations, and conclusions of you and your access consciousness business that keeps you from the exponentialization of ease, joy, and glory and creating what you deserve? How many of you think you don't deserve to have a successful business? And everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And thank you so much, Betsy.
So Simone, can I interrupt you for a
Absolutely.
question?
Yeah.
You were talking about being you and being the invitation. And what I'm noticing is that when I'm promoting my classes, people are asking me about what I do and things like that. It's like I almost go sometimes into like a blank. It's like I've promoted my classes and so forth, but it's almost like I tap into their universe and I just kind of like, and so there's so many things like I'm processing. So how do I just, I don't know, just relax and just be able to say what they need to hear?
Don't judge the blankness.
Okay.
Don't judge the, because it's like, I mean, there's so many people who would ask about access and sometimes there's just nothing there. And it's like, what are they willing to receive? I mean, I have a couple of, one of the things that, because I sort of think it fucks with them a little bit when you say, well, you know what we do, we can change any area of your life that you think is not working for you. Because most people think there's an area of their life that's not working for them. And I got that from Gary Douglas years ago when he said to me something about, the money problem you think you have. And he said it to me like 3 times and I went, hang on. What do you mean I think I have? And he went, would you actually really have a money problem? And I went, oh, my money problem was that I couldn't afford to buy business class tickets for me, Brendan and Nash to go to America. It's not really a money problem, is it? It's like a first world problem, So then I went, okay, I'll demand that I create that. So most people think that they have a problem, but they don't. So that's one of the really quick, like in Joy Business, we do this thing of going, what's your elevator pitch? And it's like, well, it depends who's in the elevator. So whatever comes up is what is meant to. And if it's blank, ask for that. And is it blank or is it a sense of space? And has that person ever been shown space before? Because most people, when there is space, they will try and fill it with a conclusion. How many of you try and fill the space with a conclusion? And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And the thing is, it's like, you won't be wrong, Karen. Okay? Like whatever comes out. I remember at one point, someone asked me, like what I did or something. And I started talking about how we work with X-Men kids and, OCD and ADHD and all this sort of, and I never described access as that. That's not how I would describe access. And she looked at me and her mouth became agape and she went, oh my God, my nephew has just been diagnosed with ADHD and put on Ritalin and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow, that really showed me, like the universe was showing me, whatever you say is actually going to be correct if you're following the energy. If you're just opening your mouth and talking or opening your mouth and nothing's coming out, that's what's required.
So what you're saying is that I can just be with that and just allow that pause to happen or whatever is coming up.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Simone.
You're welcome. And you could also, like, if there's that space too, and just go, well, what do you want to know about? It's like, what do you, is there anywhere up in your life that you think isn't working for you? And you can change it. But please, don't oversell access. I mean, the amount of people I hear that start doing access speak and then they start, shoving it down people's throats. And no wonder some people think we're a cult when they do that. It's like, just be you. I mean, I travel a lot, right? I'm on a lot of planes. So I meet a lot of hosties and I meet a lot because I do the same travel route a lot. So I know some of them, and some of them are just like, they're like, God, you're one of my favorite customers on the plane. But it's just because I'm being me. They don't know what I do. Some of them do, and some of them don't. And there's this restaurant in Houston, Texas, great French restaurant, weirdly enough, right in the middle of Houston, Texas. And the guys know Gary and Dane, and they know that I know them too. And I was in the restaurant one day, and the guy said to me, do you work with Gary and Dane? And I said, yeah. And he goes, they told me that they travel around the world making people happy. And he went, do you do that too? And I went, pretty much. And he goes, I'm just going to leave it at that. He goes, I like thinking of you guys just traveling around the world making people happy. And I was like, cool. But he had no desire to know anything else. He just liked that we traveled around the world making people happy. And it was like, okay, cool. How does it get any better than that? You know? So whatever comes out of your mouth is going to be something that will create change. Even if it creates change for you, because you'll know it. You'll know that energy when you start talking about access and you get that. I mean, Dane once said, which I love it, like gets this like this hairball in your throat, and you're like, shouldn't be going there. You know what? Just go, oh my God, I completely forgot what I was going to talk about. And that's it. And then move on. You're not going to get this wrong, okay? You're not wrong for anything that you choose.
So when you start coughing, you can't talk anymore. Then that's time to just stop and just say, oh, excuse me, or
yeah, like when you get caught up and just be like, oh, sorry, I completely forgot what I was talking about. Okay. It's like somewhere energetically, you know that you're going too far.
All right. I didn't realize that.
How many of you, well, don't make it significant. That's the thing. It's like, none of this is about form, structure, significance. It's like, you know, this is about following the energy. And like I said right at the beginning, it's like each and every single one of you create your reality. There is no one and no thing out there that matches your reality. None. And everywhere that you're looking for that in the perfect relationship or the perfect co-facilitator where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds, there is no one out there that matches your reality. There never will be. You are unique. Please embrace that. Engage with the reality beyond this reality and create the miraculous reality as you. And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. For once, I look at the thing. So you're saying, what tool can I use to change this? To change what? What do you want to change? Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view.
Hi, Simone. Hi.
Sure.
So I, sorry, Vic is from Portugal. So I was thinking, my classes, I really, and I know that I could say it, but I'm going to say it. I don't know what's happening because I can create my classes like this. So if I choose the last example, I wanted to the class, the foundation. And in 5 days, I created a class and I created the amounted. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I only have this money. And I all contracted and the money just disappeared. So
so let me ask you a couple of questions, and I'm sure nobody else on here has anything similar going on like that. So so everything of that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. So how many of you how many of you are continuously tapping into every other facilitator around the world, whether you have met them, whether you know them or not, and you connect and you engage with the limitations of every other facilitator rather than connecting and engaging with the capacities that everybody has?
Jesus.
And everything that is times a godzillion, will you now destroy and uncreate? Actually, will you revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, destroy and uncreate all the oaths, vows, fealties, communities that you all have with each other to always keep the limitations in place rather than the energy of exponentializing beyond this reality. Yes. And everything of that is time to go zillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And let's do some 5-9-11s, 5-9-11s, 1920s, and 5-9-11, 1920, 20 and 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 20. Everything of that is right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So all the virtual vibrational realities that you all decided you would be in and stay in until you all got free, will you now destroy and uncreate it on 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20 and 20 and 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And let's frack on 3 the insanity. It's like frack the insanity of the judgments and the limitations of being a facilitator of consciousness. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, thank you for asking that. I've noticed like how, like that interweaving of everyone sort of choosing the same crap. What if we all chose the greatness, like that out creating? Like what if you look at the Access Consciousness facilitators around the world, like take some time on social media or the website or something like that and start looking at what if you connect with the facilitators, you know, who are creating a lot and ask, what would it take for me to out create this person? You don't even have to know them. But what if that's what if the thousands of facilitators we have around the world, what if we played leapfrog? And can I say, every single time you see something occurring with another facilitator, and if you have that energy of like, crap, I'm not creating this, or, you know, or you have a judgment of them. I mean, I think it's hysterical, the amount of judgments I've had of me over the years. And I mean, twice, I don't know if you know this, but when I was worldwide coordinator, I rang Gary and I quit and he was like, why? And I went, because I can't handle the judgments. And he was like, what are you talking about? And then, you know, when I started to look at that, one of the things, the way he described this to me was, he said, look, Simone, I want you to have a look at your life and what you've created. Like, look at the energy of that. And then now I want you to have a look at, because there was 3 people in particular that I thought were friends. And he said, look at their lives. And I want you to have a look at their lives and what they've created. And I realized I had chosen a lot more. And he said, are they judging you, or are they judging themselves and what they have not yet chosen and might never choose? And when he said it like that, I realized that it wasn't about the judgments of me. It was about the judgments of themselves. So everywhere that you've been buying into the judgments that people may have of you with the success that you can have and choose, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And what if we truly had each other's back in a really different way? I mean, there's billions of people on the planet, right? Billions of idiots. Let's say it like it is. There's enough idiots for all of you. And so what I would like you to do as your home play for you, every single time you see someone creating something, and if you have that space in you that you judge them or you resist them or you react to it, I want you to pock and pot it and ask what, you know, and have that energy of gratitude for them, of what they're being in the world, and then ask to out-create it. None of this is based on judgment. This is based on creating more consciousness in the world. Okay? Everywhere that you haven't allowed yourself to create more consciousness in the world, because you get caught up into the trauma and drama of this reality, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And when you come up with things like that too, like when you say the money's just gone, or the people, because that's it's a running theme with Access Consciousness facilitators everywhere, that they can't get enough people to the class, or when they get people to the class, that then people don't show up. And it's like, one of the main themes of that is, you've already spent the money, you've already worked out in your head, oh, 20 people come, I'm going to get this amount, then I can pay my rent, then I can pay my kids' school fees. You know, don't spend the money before the money shows up. Okay. It's like, just keep asking each day, what can I contribute to, you know, more bums on seats showing up to this class, more people and bodies showing up to this class, and be you. It's like show up to that class with the manuals and be you and ask questions and empower people to know that they know. That's it. Everywhere that you've decided that you have to prove you as a facilitator, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds, and all the projections, the expectations, the judgments, the separations, and the rejections, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And use the tools of like, you know, how does it get any better than this? What else is possible? And those questions are not a conclusion. How does it get any better than this is not a conclusion. It doesn't mean, how does it get any better than this? And then you go to conclusion. Okay. Oh, well, how it would get any better than this is if I double my classes or if this happens or blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. How does it get any better than this? How does it? Like truly, how does it? Get out of your own friggin' head and ask, how does it get any better than this? And what else is truly possible? And everything at that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And tomorrow I've actually got the Creative Age call with Dane, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's the, you know, it's like what is possible, basically what is possible for you that you didn't think is possible, something like that. You can join the Creative Age as a one-off thing if you're not on the call. So if you want to join me and Dane tomorrow, maybe we'll send out the link or something like that where you can do it, because it's going to be good. This Australian tour is rocking. And I love that Lauren Marie said, I hope this is like Benjamin Button and you start off tired and then you wake up, because we've only had this Choice of Possibilities class with Dane and we're all like, oh my God, already like feeling a little wiped out. So,
can I ask a question, Simone?
Yes, Simon, you can.
With like, when you're asking for a certain amount of people to turn up for your class, is that like trying to come to a conclusion or something, or is that?
Yes, yes. I never ask for a certain amount of people. I will ask for, so there's, like, say if we're doing a COP or something like that and we're traveling, you know, somewhere, there's so many places in the world that are asking for Choice of Possibilities classes. So just because someone asked for it, we don't go there. It's like we look at the numbers and go, so how many people have done foundation in that area and how many people could go? And we need at least 50 paying people to get there. And that's mathematically, that's what we've looked at with how much it costs in everything to put a class on. Like I know some people think that the class costs this amount of money and they go, oh, there's 50 people, they've just made this amount of money. Yeah, no, the gross profit for a class is a hell of a lot less. So we look at that as far as like being aware of the finances, but we also don't choose based on that. Like, for example, one of the Choice of Possibilities classes that I did last year, it was in Bogota, Colombia. Man, that class was off the charts amazing. We had like 8 South American countries in there. I mean, someone said to me, it was like the United Nations of South America. And I walked away with, you know, minus access made, I think like $1,500 US after all expenses, you know. But that class, you couldn't put a monetary value on it. What it changed and what it invited people to was something so different that money doesn't match that. So everywhere that you're trying to make money match what you are creating and generating in the world, where you destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And it doesn't mean that you throw away the financial awareness. And I highly recommend any of you, it's like, this is the sort of thing that all the Joy Business facilitators will explore with you in a Joy Business class. We have the 1-day Access Business and Money, and we have the 3-day Business Done Different. And like Emily said, I'm doing one in January in Hamburg, Germany. And then I'm also doing one in Melbourne, Australia in February that will be live streamed. So you can jump on those. And I know that Heather Nichols is doing one in Belgium, I think at the same time that I'm doing the one in Hamburg in Europe. And there's Joy Business facilitators everywhere. And one thing I love about the JCFs, they do a class and they ping me and go, oh my God, that was so much fun. And it's like, they love facilitating and where it goes, because your business is something that can continuously exponentialize. Your business doesn't desire to be concluded. So everywhere that you keep concluding your business rather than allowing it to be, we destroy and uncreate it. I love someone's brushing their teeth. Is that you, Simon? Good. I'm glad whoever's brushing their teeth. It's good. You should have good hygiene.
It's not me. It's
Oh,
not me.
someone is. Everything of that is right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. That's too funny. At least they're not having sex. Well, not at least.
Yeah, that's
That's been known to happen before, you know. Someone forgot to press the old mute button. Does that help, Simon?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Cool. No conclusions. Like, so actually I actually did a podcast yesterday. It's being released next week. So maybe if we can send it out to everybody, because I did it on my own and I spoke about conclusions the whole time, like question versus conclusion. It was really cool. So let's get that, we'll ping you out I'm pressing the wrong button. Hang on a second. Let me find, okay, let's do this. I'm going to put it in I'm going to change this. Put it in the Zoom thread so you all have it. So what jails are you using to create the dominance of E equals MC squared as the necessity of getting it right, of never being wrong, of having the right answer, of having the right conclusion, and of getting the right result that makes it impossible to actually create your life and access business because you are too busy getting it right? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, let's do it again, kids. So what jails are you using to create the dominance of E equals MC squared as the necessity of getting it right, of never being wrong, of having the right answer, of having the right conclusion, and of getting the right result that makes it impossible to actually create your life and access business because you are too busy getting it right? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, one more time. So what jails are you using to create the dominance of E equals MC squared as the necessity? So you must, it's a necessity of getting it right, of never being wrong, of having the right answer, of having the right conclusion, and of getting the right result that makes it impossible to actually create your life and access business because you are too busy getting it right. And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Conclusion will never, ever, 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 ever create something greater for you, ever. A conclusion will only stop creation. Conclusion stops creation. Conclusion creates limitation. That's it. But what do you want to create? Do you want to create more? Or do you want to stop it here? Have you reached enough? Have you reached your pinnacle of where you are meant to be? Everything of that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Because how many of you are choosing way more than anyone else in your family or the people you chose to surround yourself by? And so you've decided you can't go any further because then you would be so different. You'd be so different that people wouldn't even want to talk to you. Are you willing to have that? Create that? Everything of that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. You might find animals are way more attractive to you or little babies. You notice when you see little babies somewhere and they just look at you like, whoa, because they see you. Like Avatar. They see you. Okay, anyone else have any other questions?
There were several people in the chat saying that people say they're going to come to the classes and then they're not showing up, and they were asking for questions and clearings around that.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Betsy. It's like, how many of you, when someone registers for your class or they say they're going to come, you start working on them? Like I said before, it's like, just allow them to come, because you get all excited and you tap into their world. And it's like, whether it's, when you're sleeping, etc. So create this space that is a space for them to show up. And it's like, use the energy pulls. It's like, pull energy from them to you, to the class, and allow that to actualize. Because most people, if you look at when you first showed up, I'm not sure what it was like for you, but I knew my whole life was going to change. I mean, some of you would have heard the story, but my first foundation class, I walked out of the class and I literally told my facilitator to fuck off. I had better things to do with my life than this, and walked out. He just went, okay. And I went home and I drank a bottle of wine and I bawled my eyes out. And I was like, crap, because somewhere I knew that my whole life was changing. So I went back into class the next day and crossed my arms, you know, and was like, glared at him. And he goes, you're back. And I went, yeah, I paid for it, so I'm here, which is a very big key lesson. Do not allow anyone to attend your classes unless they have paid, okay? Because they will not value it unless they have paid. And my whole entire life did change. And can I tell you, I did not facilitate for ages because I was so concerned that someone would show up to the class like me. And I went, what the hell am I going to do if someone shows up like me? How am I going to deal with that? Because I do think I was one of the most resistant people to come along.
As a follow-up to that, Simone, how about after, when you're done the class or had a session with them or whatever, yep. But I find myself still connected to them because I'm still energetically working on them.
Well, you're always going to be connected to everyone, okay? I mean, people, you know, they break up a relationship and they try and disconnect. It's like our natural state of being is being connected and engaged with everything and everyone, the molecules in the universe. So yes, you're connected, and it's like there's the energy that you can have. It's not like withdrawal, but it's like ask, okay, so what would it take to have some space here so that they can reach, they can seek, and they can reach for what it is that they desire. Like, it's the old thing of like, if someone doesn't ask a question, don't give them something. So they've done the class. I mean, I know there's a lot of facilitators, and I'm sure Emily and them have spoken to you about different things that might do something for their, you know, their clients, etc. You could do like a 30-minute Zoom once a month or something, or you could just, you know, like reach out to them, text them and say, hey, how's your life going? And it's like not about selling them the next class or anything like that. It's just like, hey, how's it going? What's up? Like, I was really grateful when I got a call after I did my first class, because I remember sitting in bed and my whole life was changing, and I wasn't doing what I had done the day before. And my facilitator called me and he was like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, I don't know what the hell you've done to me, but my life is changing. And there was something about him connecting with me that allowed me to realize I wasn't going crazy, that there was something else occurring. So, and every client's going to be different. I mean, ask, all right, so would it create more if I phone these people? Would it create more if we had like a follow-up Zoom after the foundation or something like that, and spoke to them about your next 3 favorite tools, or, you know, whatever. Or have, you know, what I did a lot too is every Wednesday night I had clearing nights, and I had I would do 45 minutes of a free introduction. So anyone could come, and I would usually talk just about, you know, questions, being in the question. And then we'd have coffee, tea break. And if you wanted to stay, it was, you know, $40 for the clearing night. And it would be, we'd have a topic or just talk about whatever. So I kept engaging in people locally.
Okay. So what I was talking about is that I actually feel physically drained after doing a session for someone for the next morning.
That's your choice.
That's my choice, their choice.
No, it's yours. That's what I said. It's like you have that energy of like sort of not withdrawing, but creating the space. So how much do you love being the guru of being an access consciousness facilitator, so that you always have to be the source for people?
Oh, crap. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, that is times a godzillion. We destroy and uncreate it.
I didn't connect what you said. Thank you.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot and shorts, boys and beyonds.
All right. Thank you so much for that clarification.
You're welcome. You're welcome, of course. Anyone else?
Yes, I actually have a question.
Sure.
Yes. Not sometimes, most of the times, it's like when I give a class or I'm in a session, people, they ask lots of things afterwards. So like I be nice, I answer some of them, but it was like, now it's like the number became a big number. So with lots of questions, and people, they want you, and every day they want me to be with them, and every day, even it's like if they want to.
So then what you do? What you do is, you know what, would you actually like to book a private session with me?
Yes, I'll do that.
Yeah. And you know what, you can get a lot done in 30 minutes in a private session.
Okay.
So say to people, look, I'm willing to chat to you for, you know, a few minutes here. And if you'd like to book a private session, we'll be able to go a lot further.
Okay. We'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'd like to ask one.
Sure.
I was just wondering, like, when Access Facilitator pull the energy from the people who wants to come to your classes, but they change their mind, if choosing consciousness is a person choice, is this kind of a manipulation? Like, why not just let him go?
It's a manipulation
If
of
you
energy.
wanna come back, they can come.
Yeah, but it's a manipulation of energy, yes. And if you're not willing to manipulate, you'll end up being the one getting manipulated. And it's not looking for a result or a conclusion. It's like, are you inviting them to a place of consciousness? It might not be your class. It might be somebody else's class. Like years ago, I had a guy, I was in Canberra, Australia, and I put some signs up. I was doing an intro class and nobody showed up. And I did the intro anyway for my friend because I wanted to practice. And then about a year later, I met this guy and he goes, oh, he said, you're the one that had that intro up in Canberra. And I went, yeah. And he goes, oh, thank you so much for that. He said, I couldn't make it to your class, but I ended up going to this, this, and this. And I met him at one of Gary's classes. So I was like, cool. So what I created and those energy pools that I was being invited him to consciousness wasn't necessarily my class. It was somebody else's. Okay, cool. I don't care. But I've never cared about that. I think I'm a little different like that. So it's not about going to the conclusion or looking for a result or going to the answer. But it is, I mean, right now, it's like if you pull, let's do this. Let's pull massive amounts of energy from every single person over the entirety of the world that is seeking something different, that knows there's something else out there, but they haven't found it yet. And it's like all of those people, will you pull massive amounts of energy from them to access consciousness, to all the classes that are available. I mean, whether it's, you know, even them finding Dane on his tour of consciousness, etc., or the Business Done Different videos or anything like that, to everything, all the tools of access consciousness, and allow access to flow the energy back to them so that they actually know that access exists. They don't have to choose it, but they have the choice to choose it. And everything at that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And one of my go-tos, what energy, space, consciousness, and choice can we be that would allow all access consciousness classes worldwide to exponentialize with ease, joy, and glory. And everything at that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. And you might want to have a look at the judgment and the resistance that you had in what I said, because that is the thing that will lock you up. And everything at that is right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys and beyonds. If everything had space and there was no conclusions and there was no answer and there was only question, what would you choose? Would life be a little easier? All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Hey, Karen, you've sent me a private message and I have no idea what you're asking about. So you might want to ask Emily. Because I don't know what it is that you're asking for.
Hi, Simone, can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, so I like had similar situation as you before, like getting out of debt and then just new to access. I became BF recently. Haven't taken any foundation, but I really would like to, you know, like just change my situation. So how does it get any better if I I know all the things that like do things with joy, but I still think like I still have money to have my life.
Okay, so have you read the Getting Out of Debt Joyfully book?
I had the audio one.
Okay, so what I want you to do is whether you read it or listen to it or read it again, and then every single time that something comes up and you switch off or you resist it, use that tool. Because the tools that you are resisting are the tools that will change everything for you.
Okay.
I mean, I resisted the 10% account for so long because I thought this is bloody ridiculous. It's like, why would I be putting 10% away and not spending it or not having it, saving it for something? Yeah. And I owe all these people money. And I realized that everything I was creating with money, I was expecting a different result by what I was still choosing, the same thing. And I went, I have to change this up. I have to destroy and uncreate everywhere that I've functioned as a certain way and be willing for everything to change. So everywhere that you're not willing for everything to change, with your finances, with your business, with your relationships, with your bodies, with parenting, family, sex, all of it, we destroy and uncreate it, times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and
Yes.
bad, pocket, pot, on name, shorts, boys and beyonds.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you guys. I just put in the chat a link to like all of the classes that Simone has coming up too, like the telecall you mentioned with Dane tomorrow, business done different, choice of possibilities, all sorts of other stuff. So if you guys want to go there, you can check out kind of all that Simone has going on in the world, and we will put this replay in the Facebook groups, all the facilities.
Oh, that's what Karen was asking for, I think.
Okay, cool.
Like, I don't know what
And
Is
on
there any time for a small question?
We do not actually, just because Gary has a telecall starting soon and we have lines that we have to use for all the translation for that one.
Yes.
Okay,
you
I
do.
appreciate it.
But thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Emily. You're amazing. And thank you, all of you, for coming on here. And please just keep choosing more each and every day. And when you get weird and funky, just ask, what would it take for me to be more this moment, this very moment? Everything that is right and wrong, good and bad, pop and pot on and shorts, boys and beyonds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.